What's going on, everybody? It is Fantastic Friday. We know what that means. That means we have the Michael Zuber from One Rental at a Time here with us to talk about three serious issues, Mike.
Yeah.
Three serious issues.
I agree.
How's it going?
Going good, man. Thank you. I look forward to this. Always fun rapping with you.
It is. It's a lot of fun. I mean, we just record it because it gives us a reason to,
reason to talk.
Share it with other people. Yeah, it's cool. So the first thing we wanted to talk about was deal review. And, so I always, we're always really careful about kind of thumping our chests and look how awesome we are, because we know that can quickly bite you in the butt. But I want to make sure one of the biggest things, and I know that we're so both passionate about, is it's not just doing the work. It's doing the work, yes, but it's also finding that next level where they then can walk a property like you or a me and go, yeah, this is what it's worth, or just get pictures, or just, kind of following that process where it's like, innately, this is exactly what this thing is worth. And so talk to me a little bit about that and kind of where you saw that transition in your career from, relying on a realtor, relying on others, and then being able to just kind of like, yep, this is what it is. This is what the number is. And I can be done here.
Yeah, this is a powerful topic, because I've been very clear with folks, and I teach it, right? Go get your buy box.
That's right.
And in the beginning, ignore everything else. So again, my buy box, I don't know if it's embarrassing or a compliment. I'm going to take it as a compliment that my buy box was the same for almost 3 years.
Yeah.
Right. 93703. 3 or 4 bedrooms, 2 baths, 2-car garage. I think it was like 12 to 1,700 square feet, whatever it was.
Yeah.
That's all I looked at, man.
Yeah.
And again, it's in a market I didn't know. I knew no one. I had no special access, not doing any marketing. I chose it. It was 2.5 hours away driving, 5-hour round trips. It was hard, right?
Yeah.
So I would say, again, daily discipline on that buy box. I would say by day 75, I started to feel like, I could tell if a new listing was a bad deal, was probably where I went first, meaning it was overpriced.
Yep.
And as soon as you start realizing that means average, right? Because you're like, that's bad.
That's right. That's right.
It took me probably another 30, because again, I was in a hot market. What people don't realize is the market I was in 2002 was as close to 2021 as I've seen. Sure. It was hot. Listings were going fast, right? And I would say it was probably 100 days in, maybe 115. I was like, oh, I think I get it now.
Yeah. And
once that light bulb went on, so now we're what, 6 months in? I guess 4 months in, whatever. 4 or 5, and at that point, I knew that buy box better than 99% of the agents. And I only say 99 because I don't want to be so arrogant. Maybe there was a local agent that focused on the same market.
Sure.
But I knew it better than anybody else I ever talked to. I would talk to property managers and contractors and agents and bankers and just people that live there. I said, again, you got to take, I tell people all the time, you have to take the opportunity to tell everybody you speak with what your buy box is.
Yes.
So I would tell people at meetups. I would tell people at this. I would tell people here. I would tell people when I'm in a foreign country. Right? I took it as an opportunity to practice, worst case, and you just never know where stuff goes. And it was about a day 100, day 125 where I knew it. And and when you know it, you can confidently have a discussion with someone who thinks they know it, because that's the real test, right?
Sure.
You get an agent coming in, beating their chest, and they're saying, dude, Michael, this is the best deal I've seen in Mayfair. And then I could go, what about this one? What about this one? What about this one? And oh, by the way, I think it's overpriced because it's too close over here and it's not here. And it's, oh, by the way, it's 250 square feet smaller. And, oh, by the way, did you see the kitchen? The kitchen hasn't been updated since the 50s. And this one over here was. It's that daily discipline, that repetition that for me, it was taking at the time what was online and moving it to a spreadsheet. That was like a second chance to learn. And again, I had a running, the list was hundreds long by the time I got there. It was date driven. It's frankly, it's everything I teach is what I did. And so for me, it was about 100 days in a brand new market. So, yeah.
When did you take that next step? Because really the next step is, okay, now I know, not necessarily, like largely speaking, those are pretty much rent ready. for the most part, right?
Mhm.
So then the next level in our game is going from, okay, I can look at something that's done, know what I'm going to get for rents, know what I should pay for it,
Yeah.
that sort of thing. But then that next level is now you're looking at assets that some would consider liabilities because they're dumps, right? So it's needs a kitchen, needs sheetrock work, needs a roof, needs landscaping. What was the transition from kind of beginner Mike to intermediate Mike, where it was like, okay, now I'm starting to look at kind of, rent ready stuff, and I'm raising my game to double A.
So that honestly didn't occur to me for 8 or 9 years. For me, it was the crash, right? Because again, buy box, I could be in Australia or Europe or South America. I stayed in my buy box. Sure, my buy box got bigger, but it was always generally rent ready or cosmetic rehabs. We're talking paints, carpet. I didn't do a bathroom or a kitchen for a decade, right?
Yep.
But now 2010 comes, the crash is in full force. Banks are telling me no. And pretty much the only thing I can really look at is stuff that I could, in theory, pay cash for if I had to, because I couldn't get a loan. I couldn't buy the rent ready stuff. The bank said no, and hard money said no. So for me, it was probably the 6th or 7th weekend, because I was going almost every weekend. The market was just so hot and nobody was buying. I didn't understand. We would go every Saturday, for probably every other Saturday or 3 Saturdays a month we would go. And it was probably the 6th or 7th weekend where it's like, this is all the same stuff, right? You understand the square footage gets you a size for flooring because they all need new flooring. You start just doing carpet in the bedrooms and you're like, okay, well, that's this or that. It's amazing. Oh, the bathroom. Oh, look at that. The kitchen cabinets are smashed again. Shocking. Oh, they broke the tile in the bathroom. Okay. After a while, it just became all the same stuff. So by the 7th or 8th deal, I was within a couple of grand, which was always enough. It was always close enough. What did get me actually on the first 5 or 6 is I forgot the sewer lines.
Yes.
Because the stuff was vacant for a year in many cases. I didn't budget for that, but you break 3 or 4 in a row, you start budgeting for how long has this one been vacant? That tree is awful close to what I think is going to be the sewer line. I'm going to guess that thing's going to pop the sewer line.
And they're made out of clay and they weep water, right?
Exactly. It's like, God damn. Again, the beauty is they would never break during the remodel, but as soon as the tenant would break, it's like 3 weeks in. It's like, that tree looks a lot greener.
And stuff doesn't flush as quickly. So that's kind of that intermediate ball where it's like, okay, I might have to do a kitchen. I might have to do, a little bit, stuff a little bit heavier. When did you take that next level to like, really like pro at this point where you're moving walls, putting in LVLs, ripping up sewer lines, doing driveways, like, that when did you hit that? Full on, like, it doesn't matter what project or what product you're looking at now, you can do it. It's just a matter of you assessing.
For me, that became when we started flipping. So we've completed 59 flips now since I've been retired in 18. It was probably again, flip 7 or 8 that I can now walk in and go, we're going to do that. We're going to do that. We're going to do that. We're going to do all new. Again, right now I go in and I count windows. Okay. That's how many windows we have. Oh, new roof. It's this big. Okay. New shingles, layover versus rip and replace, fencing, driveways. And then the cute factor, right? Because we're doing flips to owner ox. We got to frame it, right? The 1950s porches in Fresno were just concrete, this just a big pad. Well, you know what? Maybe we should just add 6 foot of, picket fence or, whatever, make it cute, frame it in. Oh, we should add chain link here. Oh, by the way, we need a carport. We'll add that. Now we're going to add a half bath, right? Maybe if the footprint is there.
Sure.
All right. So it was probably the 6th or 7th flip. Because again, something we have never done is added square footage. Right? We've always worked within the footprint.
Yep.
So other than that, which again, I don't do generally speaking, because it's just slow, especially now with COVID and all that stuff. And time is money. So I've always worked inside the footprint.
Yep.
But yeah, we've done lots of stuff. And yeah, probably the 6th or 7th flip. And now I can even do it over the phone most of the time.
Right. Yep. So, and I want everybody to hear this, is that it's the maturation and your journey, right? From where you started to where you are now, which was too often people in the very beginning, the overzealous might look at something, go, but it's such an amazing deal, but they're having to do all the stuff that you were doing year 10, right?
Yeah.
And it's the same thing for me too. When I walk into a house and I smell the heaviness and the reek of cigarette and cat pee.
Oh, cats. Oh, cats.
That's the smell of money.
Yeah.
That's the smell of money.
Yeah. You just know the level, like that's not carpet. That's subfloor.
Yeah.
Subfloor's coming out.
Yeah. I mean, you feel the cat feline demonic presence that is there from the pee. And the challenge that we have in the Northeast is that we have a lot of times we have original barn board that was put down for flooring.
Wow.
So it's a 140-year-old floor. Wow. Guess what? You don't get too easily 140-year-old floor. It's kind of tough to replace.
Yeah.
And so we actually have to come up with treatments of how to get all of that urine out of the floor.
Oh.
And so we've done that. We've done that countless times.
Yeah, that's something luckily here in Cali, it's all just you
You're
can always
on
walk
slab
in
too, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we're not on slab.
Yeah. So it's like, oh, this is easy.
Yeah. So I think what's really important in this video for everyone to understand is that whether it was Mike or me, my journey was a little bit different because I started without being able to, I couldn't afford to buy rent ready.
Yeah.
I couldn't afford it.
Yeah.
And so it was, I could put in the sweat equity. I could put in the time. That was something I could make the time to do because I was single.
Sure.
Didn't have any kids then. And so it was like, okay, I finished work at 7 o'clock at night or 8 o'clock at night. I would go and I work 3 or 4 more hours.
Yeah.
And then I would work my weekends. And so when it was all said and done, I worked 110-hour work week, but I got 60 or 65 hours on the regular job, 35 or 40 on the other job. And it was a lot harder to learn how to do things then because YouTube didn't exist, how to use a miter saw and how to, do all that type of work, how to get cat pee
wrong
out.
angle.
Yeah. All I have to say is that first house, there was a lot of leftover pieces.
It's all jagged edges.
Yeah. I'm like, damn it, I'm getting that angle wrong again. It's a 45. Yeah, but it was just absolutely brutal. But this kind of all segues kind of nicely into the one thing, that kind of is the cherry on top, right? Which is we get to a point where we can either even just if pictures, right? Just getting pictures of the furnace, pictures of the, heating system, the roof, getting pictures. Mm-hmm. We can actually assess and get a number in our head. Yeah.
But I also want to highlight again, remember my story, right? Again, full-time employee. I was all over the world.
Sure.
I was for the first 3 years or 5 years, it was close to rent ready, right? If it was paint and carpet, right? Yep. No kitchens, no baths, no windows, no driveways, no roofs. That's all I could do.
Yep.
Then it was, okay, we can do a little bit more. Because now, the market will dictate where I had to be. Because in 2010, I couldn't use the skill I had to generate new skills.
Right.
And the thing that I want people to realize is, again, remember what I said, I couldn't get to your level. I didn't get to your level until almost year 20.
Yeah.
Right.
Sure.
Because I wasn't doing that. I didn't have time. My market's 2.5 hours away. I couldn't go there enough and do enough deals to learn those. I didn't care to. But again, it's kind of rinse and repeat. You do it enough times, you realize, what, it's this house is just this big and the flooring costs this and it costs this to install and windows cost this and they're single pane. So they all got to go. And it's do the work. What I want people to realize is don't rush. That really scares me. Don't rush the process.
No. And if they think that the people on TV leave a lot out. Number one. Number two, they have crews literally standing by, massive crews standing by to do this work, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And so if you are just building your network and you're a distance investor, I would definitely not be doing anything more than lipstick, which is, floors and paint and that sort of thing. If you're local, even if you're local, beware. There are guys like me who have crews that we've used for years and years and years, have a ton of experience. So I can pick up the phone. You can't do that. Not yet. And it takes time to get there and you have to be patient and recognize that your first flip might take, I think my first flip probably took me 6 months. I think my first flip took me 5 months, maybe 6 months.
Yeah. My first flip. So again, remember I'm 18 years in at this point. We just started flipping. I would say, so the first flip went on schedule, but I would say we were off by 15%.
Wow. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. We were 5. I was 5 months, maybe 6. And I was doing a lot of the work myself.
Mhm.
Budget wise, we were probably 5 to 10% over, because you're not under.
Yeah.
Now you
I'll let you know if that ever happens.
Yeah, yeah. Well, because we come up with a number that we can live in our head, and we figure out. And here's the big mistake most people make is they don't understand what the exit looks like.
Exactly.
And you and I know what the exit looks like, and so we say, you know what,
I
if
know
we
about the
spend
exit
extra
before I
5,
buy the deal.
exactly. You gotta have an escape plan before you buy the deal. You gotta try and know what you're doing with it.
Mhm.
So if you can kind of think back, the last question I have for you is kind of think back. And when guys like us get into a market, we then understand it inside and out. We then have, we have, our game is dialed in.
Mhm.
You then get to the point where you can look at a property and you can call a property and call a number. And so with like a wholesaler, right? They say, this is what I want. And a lot of wholesalers are really good. And so they kind of know, but you might look at it and say, yeah, but I can make that 3 or 4, and I can make this or that. Right. And then that's where you unearth more value. What was the biggest deal that you ever looked at where you said, yeah, I'm going to buy it from the wholesaler and I know what I'm going to do with it. I know what my exit is, but then the appraisal kind of as complete, right, came in at a number significantly higher than what you were buying it for. And kind of, you were just like, I literally just bought X amount of dollars of equity.
I bought a 6-unit apartment building from someone who didn't know it, or the wholesaler didn't know what they had. I might be off on the numbers. This was in 2019, I think. I think I bought it for $50K a door, 300 grand. And the wholesaler made 50 grand. So they made their 50 grand. It wasn't like they made 5 grand.
Right.
But the property at the time was under lease. This is pre-pandemic. So again, we don't have any of those, eviction moratoriums or any of that. Because it was 6 units and I had the financial backing, I had all tenants removed at one time, which is generally not something you would do. Yep. Right. So we gave them 45-day notice. I paid for some folks to move. I had the entire crew hit it, and we turned it in so tenants, I think it was actually 60 days when the last 2 left. Then we turned the entire building, outside the courtyard, all of that. And we nearly tripled the rent. And we ended up selling it. We ended up selling it a year and a day later. So I got the capital gains hit for almost 600 grand.
Oh,
yeah.
Now, when you go through that, were you doing anything with like a construction loan or you just fund it yourself? Okay.
That one, oh no, on that one I did my 6 and 20. So I had a 6 and 20 program I was doing. Yep. So I had somebody fund the entire $300,000.
Yep.
So they came in, they were the bank. I paid them 6% interest. It was a year loan. And then when I exited, so basically I funded the repairs, which is about 150 grand.
Yep.
So I fund that. I'm paying interest, lease it up, and then I sell it. I hold it. I think it was full for like 6 months.
Okay.
Because I wanted the year and a day on purpose, and I told the lender that, right?
Sure.
So then they walked away with 20% of the profit, which after all selling costs and all that was about $20,000. Yeah. So they made their 6% interest. They got 20 grand. I made 80 grand. Basically I doubled my money, right? Or thereabouts. So, and again, I had that plan the day I bought it.
Tell everybody what the year and a day is. I want to make sure everyone knows what the year and a day is.
Yeah. So if you sell property in under a year, it's income. If you sell it a year and a day, it's capital gains. And in my tax bracket, that makes a difference.
Yeah. A lot of times you're talking about anywhere from 40% to now 20%.
No, in California, it's
53 or something.
Yeah, something stupid like that.
So in California, it's 53 to 20, but in normal places, it's usually like 40 or 45 to 20. Yeah. But so there's the other piece of that too, is so you did your 6 and 20 program, which is awesome. Yeah. You have, money.
Again, think about all the network, right? So I had lenders lined up, my personal network. I tell everybody what I'm doing. I borrowed, I don't know, $5 or $6 million on that 6 and 20 program. I did it 54 times.
That's awesome.
And again, I do it different. A lot of investors, I want to borrow everything. I hate that.
Yeah.
I want to borrow the purchase. I'll fund the repairs. That way I have margin if my prices are wrong. I want to eat pain first.
Yep.
And then a lot of people will reach out to me. Hey, I'll be a part of that. Well, right now I can't find any deals that work. So,
yeah,
I'll let you know if they come around. But yeah, it was an awesome program. I was recycling so much money back then. It was fun.
Oh, it's beautiful. Yeah. So the deal that we just did, and kind of why I wanted to do something on this topic was learning your buy box, really understanding your market, really understanding the effort that it takes to, turn a property like that. So this was a deal that it was a wholesaler deal, same exact thing. They said this was actually a little bit network because this was a boyfriend of a tenant of mine. Mm-hmm. He's like, so you kind of buy this stuff. Mm-hmm. And I was like, love it. Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, his girlfriend living in one of my places, he was able to put that together. Hey, this is the kind of stuff you do. I'm like, awesome.
Score.
So he calls me, I walk the deal, and I said, you know what? At the end of the day, it's funny. I'll give you $50,000 for the contract on this.
Yeah, exactly.
Bought for so he bought for $575. I paid him $50, $6.25. I then talked to the bank and said, you know what? What kind of terms can I get on the construction piece? I then did a budget of $175,000, which I will actually show everybody when we finish the project what number I actually came in at. Because I'm
going to go 195 just for fun.
Okay. All right. Now we just annexed doing the roof.
Exactly. We're going to come under.
Sorry, guys, no roof. But so we came in at, so it was so we're 800 all into the deal.
Yeah.
And we just got an as complete appraisal. So there's two types of appraisals that you get. There's an as is appraisal, which is taking the building as it sits right now today. That's what it's worth right now today in the market. Then there's as complete, which is the appraiser looks at it and says, this is what it's worth now, but based on your repair list, this is what it's going to be worth when you're done.
Yeah.
So the as complete on this building, so I was $575, paid $50,000 to the wholesaler. So we're $6.25, $175 for a budget. I'm $800. The as complete, I just saw, this was the deal that I closed on yesterday. That was where we were waiting for the appraisal, the as complete appraisal piece before we could close. $1,035,000.
Oh, not a bad day.
So $235,000 of equity.
Because you knew
just because stuff. I knew my market. And Mike, this is what you did with that sixplex. This is what I did with this building. So guys, the reason that we do these videos is to make sure that you guys know, yes, you have to check the box, and yes, you have to learn your market. Daily discipline. You're knowing everything that you're doing every single day. And then as you do it, you can continue to go Dion's path, which is, I don't want to do anything. You can then branch and start to do Mike's path, which is, I'll do this set of deals. And then the market shifts and you pivoted.
I did.
Right? Great businessmen pivot. Because if you'd stayed only in the market that you were in, doing it the way that you were doing it, would have had a much different outcome than where you're at today.
Yeah, understatement and a half.
So then we get to that point where we then are walking properties. We're doing the math in our heads. I put that spreadsheet together on my phone on the fly while I'm walking the property, 15 minutes. Nice. This is what I want to encourage people to get to, because now any deal that you or I walk or even see pictures on, we can do a budget on, we know its value, we understand as complete. And even if the bank, if somebody had ever pushed back on me and said, no, Matt, it needs to be 850 or it needs to be 900, I still would have said yes, because I knew the property in my heart, in my mind, in my numbers, the property is worth between 1.1 and 1.3.
There you go.
So guys,
done. Let's go.
This is it. So Mike, tell everybody where they can find you, my friend.
Go to your Google search bar and type in one rental at a time. You should see all kinds of stuff. And we just released 15 conversations with real estate millionaires. So you want motivation. You want to be reminded that this hard work is worth it. There's a story in there that I know will speak to you.
I know this because we went through all 15 of them, and Mike could not have picked a better group of people to pull from. I mean, it's Mike. I don't know that there's anybody that you talk to that could give you another angle. Like, it's 15 different angles on real estate investing, and all the great outcome, right? But all different ways of getting there. 15 different paths to get to being a multimillionaire.
Yeah, that was certainly the goal. I look
Awesome.
forward to feedback. People are actually getting it delivered now. So I look forward to the reviews as they roll in.
Yeah, Mike, look forward to it. Hey guys, as always, we put a ton of time into creating great content for you. Subscribe, give us a thumbs up. This is going to be playing on One Rental at a Time on Saturday. It's playing Lumberjack Landlord today. But like I said, we take a ton of time to put together great content. Lumberjacklandlord.com, Lumberjack Landlord on YouTube, One Rental at a Time, all over the world. And 11:30 Sunday Eastern Time, 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time Sunday. There's going to be a live webcast. Yours truly, Lumberjack Landlord. Looking forward to it. Please make sure you attend and bring some good questions because we like to create the story and the dialogue. So guys, thanks so much for joining. Appreciate your time. Thanks, Mike.
Mm-hmm.